From around the world they came, the greatest poker players from the greatest poker-playing nations, to fight for this trophy, $100,000 and international bragging rights. The final will decide who is truly the best. It's crunch time at the PartyPoker Poker Nations Cup. The first player going in for the United States tonight, it's Phil Lark.
I picked Phil Lark to play for the American team today because Phil is a great player and he really varies his game. I think he'll be out there confusing our opponents, and with an average stack for the lower 5 nations, not the Brits, I think it's very important for us to mix our game up right now, and that's why I picked Phil Lark.
Opening the action for Sweden, Mats Ram.
Mats Ram is going to start out in the final for Team Sweden. He feels like a great selection to start out the tournament because he has the combination of being a great tournament player and also a great cash game player.
Germany's first player tonight will be Philipp Marmerstein.
I've chosen Philipp Marmerstein to play the first round for Germany in this final because he's more or less likely the most experienced one to handle the small beginning blinds in our team.
Starting out for Denmark, Nikolai Vivet.
We're starting with Nikolai Vivet. He's very, very good deep stacks, so I'm very confident he's going to do a great job here.
Holland's first finalist, Jorrit van Herf.
He proved himself to be one of the top players out here from all of those players in this heat, where everybody wants to play conservative. We are going to grind some chips, and he's the man to do it.
And starting for Great Britain, it's Joe Beavers.
Okay, I'm putting Joe Beavers in first to get us just get a few chips and kill a bit of time, you know, because he's not going to lose and he's just going to gain us a few thousand and, you know, get us through the first couple of levels.
The PartyPoker Poker Nations Cup final is on. 6 world-class players at the table, and one with me in the commentary box. It's Barney Boatman.
Well, I thought it was just you and me here, Vicky.
Starting stacks, of course, reflecting points accrued by each team in the heats.
Pass.
And Great Britain
Pass.
with a massive chip lead as we begin.
50, was that 200?
200, yeah.
United States had a bad run to begin with, didn't they, in this tournament?
Yeah, and it's great for the competition
Raised
that they
to
had that
600.
fabulous comeback in the last seat, because now everybody has a shot, and Phil Lark of the United States wasting no time in making a button raise, starting to make up that deficit straight away.
I'm not so convinced that it's that important that who's playing. I mean, if you have a capable player, most capable players understand, yes, I have this many chips, these are the blinds. They're adjusting, you're always adjusting. So I think I would have been fine at any level. I'm happy to go for a start because I'm very comfortable, you know, when the blinds are small.
6 great players on each team. The captains decide who they're going to play in the final, and they've had some tricky decisions.
Yes, Vicky, they've tended to put their steadier players in. Joe Beavers there to protect that massive chip lead. Great Britain with more than double the average. But with the blinds so low, there's plenty of time for all these teams to get into it.
I know, yeah, right, yeah.
Pass.
Mats Ram of Sweden making a raise, as you might expect with that hand.
I like traveling in general.
action will be on Nikolai Vivet of Denmark. He was the online player on that team, and it's a sign of the increasing respect that internet players are held in, that the captain sends in the online player first of all above the live tournament professionals.
Yes, of course, these days we all know that the online specialists get an enormous amount of experience, especially in this format of poker, and it's a big part of the modern game.
Two players. Check.
Marmerstein has called a raise with a cute little hand, and he's hit top pair.
Yes, and Van Herf, who raised
1200
from early position and has absolutely missed the flop in the biggest way possible. No pair, no draw. He's coming out, playing strong, and Marmerstein might not be too comfortable about this, but this is a beautiful card for Marmerstein, because if he was in front, he still is. And this is a good point in the pot to bet out against the bare club. I think Van Herf will have to throw this away, Vicky. Marmerstein was being cautious, making sure no danger card came on the turn, and now he wants to establish whether his top pair is in front.
Yeah, it's impossible for Van Herf. Even if Marmerstein was betting with a bare ace of clubs, that would still be beating the Dutchman's hand. And with only 11,800 in chips, it's hard for him to raise without going nearly broke.
I like the way Marmerstein played this. Good, brave attempt by Van Herf, but Marmerstein, without getting in too deep, found out where he was and took that pot away. And that stopped the rot for the Germans, who are still sitting in second place.
I always give credit.
The 6 great players you see around this table have been selected to open the match for their respective countries. But later on, the captains will be making tactical substitutions.
Now, Joe Beaver's under the gun with a small pair.
Raise the 600. Pass.
Chosen to come out raising.
Call.
And very interesting that Ram,
Pass.
with position on Joe Beavers, wants to disguise the ace-king. And good news for Beavers, really, who wouldn't have wanted to get in too deep before the flop with his hand. Might have put down for a re-raise.
2 players.
Well, that's a very good flop for Beavers.
It certainly is. If he was in front before the flop, he's almost certainly in front still. He wasn't re-raised, so he'll like his 2 pair here.
1200.
Well, what an amazing play by Ram, and I am very pleased to see that. You know, so many players today want to shovel it all in with ace-king before the flop. Ram calling to disguise his hand, really get on if he hits it, giving it up for almost nothing when he missed it.
It's a different situation since I don't have to get all the chips. All I have to do is survive and, well, preferably build some chips. It's a really fun tournament, and of course you want to come out ahead. So it's a big deal for me and the other Swedes.
Welcome back to the Party Poker Poker Nations Cup, which will be leaving on a jet plane tonight, unless Great Britain win for the 2nd year running, in which case it goes nowhere.
Oh no, it'll be landing Hendon Airport helipad.
You know, Philip being so dry didn't give it credit.
Raise the 600.
Till. Now, if you've got a silver pen...
Chip values. The yellow chips are worth $25, green 100, blue 500, and red 1,000.
2 players.
Maybe I could get one of the American shirts signed, Charity?
600.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, truth.
Can you get your team to sign it for
100%.
Philip Marmerstein raising it up, and a very crafty flat call from Van Herf.
And oh... This is an absolute cold deck. The complete mystery set for Van Herf on the turn. And Marmerstein thinks he's suckering Van Herf in.
I don't see how Marmerstein can avoid going broke here. He flopped a set. His opponent's turned a set. We could be losing a team.
Raise to 2,400.
Well, if Marmerstein finds a way not to go broke in this pot, it'll only be because he has a few more chips than Van Herf, or because he's an absolutely brilliant chip defender. I think he's still acting. I think he still likes his hand.
Marmerstein did begin this hand with more chips, so he won't be knocked out, but he could be crippled. What a horrible card.
Well, there must be desperation amongst the German team. Starting to wonder whether they're going to get a chance to play now in this Poker Nations Cup, because Philip Marmerstein hit what looked like his dream flop. How can he possibly get away from this? Well, it could be a set, and if it is a set, he's losing. What else would he raise with on the turn?
Call.
Well, this is amazing. Marmerstein has just called. If he can send... Well, two full houses now.
Check.
All in.
All in, says the Dutchman.
He's trying to put his opponent on the hand that he's beating with fives full, because if he's not up against a bigger house, what is it?
I call, says Philip Marmerstein. He couldn't put down a full house, and that's horrible. Germany began the hand with more chips, so they are not knocked out, but Marmerstein down to just 2,500. And there must be horror in the German corner of the green room.
Well, the look on his face said it all. He knew before he called that there was a very good chance that he was losing there.
Oh, we're doing fine. We're second in chips, and anything can happen. Great Britain has a great lead, but if anyone doubles up, they catch up with Great Britain, so that's okay.
Germany have called a substitution, Vicky.
It's been a pleasure. That's been all right. Next time,
Michael Kiner, the German captain, must feel that Marmerstein, his head is down after that horrible beat. And I think he wants to come in himself and try and rescue it.
I did the substitution right now to exchange Philip for Simon, because Simon has the best chance to make something back, gain something back from this very, very small stack. It's a very small chance, I know, but it's the best chance. That's the reason why I did the substitution right now.
In comes Simon Muntz, who was Germany's online player. Captain Michael Kiner must feel that Muntz will do something a little creative with the short stack.
My whole month of February last year was crushed. I still won, but like 70% of my month was taken by those two hands, and I just said it's not going to happen as often now. I'm just not going to have bottom set.
Muntz will probably be hoping to find easily passable cards for a little while, but no, all in. Gutsy stuff from the young online player.
Well, I like this. And far easier psychologically for a fresh player to come in and make this kind of play. You can see straight away the wisdom of Michael Kiner's substitution.
Of course, the German team will be praying for a call from Holland here. They'd be in fantastic shape for the double-up.
It would be absolutely perfect, and Van Herf may feel that Muntz would do this with any two cards.
He has called.
All in. Holland shows Queen 9, Germany shows King 9. Let's see the flop.
Oh.
Queen, Jack, King.
Well, a 10 would mean a split pot.
Germany's in the
Another queen would still knock out Germany. But a blank would... Oh, that's cruel. The split pot, when Germany really could have had the double up right there. But a straight for both sides. And Muntz is left with what he had at the beginning of the hand, plus half of the blinds.
I'm very happy to have Simon Muntz in our team. He was primarily known as a great cyber game player, but he made his money last year playing high-limit poker as an internet player, and he's technically on the state of the art.
How do you play this game? Here's Barney.
Each player receives two cards face down from the dealer. The two players to the immediate left of the dealer post two compulsory bets, which are known as the blinds. Play then proceeds in a clockwise direction, with each player having to make a betting decision. They can call, match the current bet, or raise, put more money into the pot, or they can fold, throw their cards away. Once this round of betting is over, the dealer reveals the flop, 3 community cards dealt in the middle of the table. More betting follows. Then comes the 4th card, the turn card, and the 5th card, known as the river. Players must make the best 5-card poker hand using the 7 cards available. Once the betting is over, the players reveal their cards, and the player with the best hand wins the pot.
Blinds at 150 and 300 means plenty of play for everyone, except unlucky Germany, who took that horrible early hit and have sent in their online man, Simon Muntz, to see if he can get them out of trouble.
Van Herf putting in a raise with a very mediocre hand, and Rahm is certainly going to be giving him action here. He might choose to re-raise with this because, well, he played his ace-king very slow, and once again...
Oh, well, this is danger for Germany. If Rahm had re-raised, Muntz could have got away. But of course he thinks his hand is perfect to squeeze them. He will get rid of Van Herf. But if Rahm calls, the clock is ticking in Deutschland.
Well, of course, the problem here for Van Herf is that the raise reopens the betting. He can't afford to call this and be raised again by Rahm. If he thinks that Rahm will just call so they can check it out or take 2 hands against Muntz, he's got the value to call.
Well, this is horrible for Germany.
Rahm has decided they're going to take 2 hands against 1 here, and unless somebody connects big, the 2 with chips will be checking it out. Now, Muntz has picked up a flush draw here, Vicky.
Well, this is a fantastic flop for Muntz. Short of a jack coming down, the flush draw is his best hope. If another club or a jack comes on the end, it'll be a treble up for Germany. No, what a tragedy. Sweden will take the main pot with ace-queen. And after an unlucky hand for Philip Marmerstein and bravery gone wrong for Simon Muntz, we have lost our first nation from the Poker Nations Cup.
And all the great work that Michael Kiner and his team did throughout the heats of this Poker Nation Cup all come to nothing because of one cold deck. And that's it, we're down to 5 nations already.
I think Michael Kiner put me in because I did really well in my heat, and I'm a bit a gambler and I love to play it when I'm short stacked. I'm proud of it because now I could play in the final just for some hands, but it's nice as well. It's still nice.
This tournament is winner take all, Barney. It doesn't matter if you're the first out, the third out, or the last out. You have to be not out at all.
That's right, and that's why these steady players who've been put in to protect the chips early on also know that they must take every opportunity to gather chips, because sooner or later they're going to have to take on the might of Great Britain, and it's going to be all or nothing for this Poker Nations Cup.
Phil Lark making a little raise. And that gets rid of Rahm, whose hand was dominating his.
Rahm has been playing very cautiously up to now.
Nikolai Vivet of Denmark. He is the online player for that team, but a very strong live player. He cashed in the World Series of Poker last year. Knows exactly what he's doing in this game. Oh, what a flop for Denmark.
Well, is Lack going to have one pop at this?
That's a large bet from Lack.
This is going to be very, very expensive for the United States. He felt he had to make one continuation bet at it. And Vivek now going into acting mode.
There's a lot of draws on the flop. He may feel that he has to raise. He has done that. Doesn't want to see some scary 8 of spades come down. And, of course, that will be an escape hatch for the American.
Well, I think once Vivek showed any interest on the flop, that was the end of it for Phil Lark. He has absolutely nothing to do with this flop whatsoever.
Kid.
And that's another fine mess he's gotten himself into there. But you can't blame him. He had a good try. And the United States now down below that psychological 10,000 chip mark.
Show me the bluff, kid. It'll really get into my head. It'll make me crazy. Show me the bluff. Show me the ace-4 spades. Come on, do it. Show it to me. Please, Nikolai, come on.
I always feel good if I play well. That is the primary dictum that rules how I feel about my poker play. If I am the first one to have a tournament, but I thought I played seamless, or what, it doesn't matter to me. If I do I've had tournaments where I've done well financially, and then kind of like, oh, and not had as good a feeling as things where I busted out. Because I'm all about trying to conquer the probability of the mysterious, like the insanity of how do you play well.
Well, a very surprising early substitution by Great Britain. Joe Beavers, who's played a steady defensive game, has actually accumulated a few chips and certainly never put them in danger.
We've brought Joe off now because he's done a couple of levels and got us a couple of grand together. And now we're going to send Ram in to try and improve the chip stack situation so that then we're going to send John Cabbage in next, same thing. And when I go on, hopefully, there'll be just me and a couple of little stacks and I'll just have to finish him off, do the daily work. So that's what I've done.
So one man from Hendon has gone from the table, another's taken his place.
Well, Ram Vaswani, who captain Dave Elliott probably considers his most talented player, has been brought in to mix it up and pressure these more steady players and start to press home that great chip advantage the British have. Well, the Swede has found a fabulous hand, and we've seen him play very slowly up to now, but no one's going to put the brakes on with a pair of kings. 5-handed. Oh. Very unfortunate for Ram Vaswani. I mean, most of the time he plays back with this kind of hand, but he may feel like being a bit fishy.
Cool.
This is a very good time to choose to play this hand this way. I think he already knows what a tight player Ram is. He would have been watching him from the green room, and that king, that ace may save Ram Vaswani a lot of chips.
Check.
If it had come 3 small cards, Vaswani would have to stay interested.
Check. Check.
He seems to have switched off.
Well, if Ram checks again, Ram might attempt a little value bet with his kings.
That's 800.
Yeah, he might get a call for that amount.
Well, you know, Ram, despite what some people think, is a deep thinker in the game, and he'll think the hand through very carefully, but it's a very cheap bet and priced up nicely. But really the story of that hand, Ram Vaswani come in as one of the flamboyant, swashbuckling players, and he could have lost a lot more chips, and he played it more like Joe Beavers than Joe Beavers would have done.
So when are you going to start?
No, I don't want to let you know.
Okay.
It's somewhere in the next, shortly enough.
Pass. Pass.
Ram Vaswani of Great Britain.
Cool.
Will be looking to do some creative stuff at this table. And a call with this kind of hand is certainly creative. Oh, but Matt Ram has a big hand. And he's just checking it. Crafty meets crafty in this coup.
Really very surprising, actually, Vicky. And how much will Ram be loving this flop?
It's 400.
Well, I'm not sure about this bet from Ram. He's checked in the big blind to disguise the strength of his hand, and you'd think he'd then want to check this flop, let Ram have a go at it.
There's more than one way to skin a cat, and he may be hoping now that Ram has a weak ace and he can build a big pot this way. Of course, he doesn't want to let in draws to keep blue. And Ram, well, here you are. He's induced a play from Ram.
Cool.
Well, there, Ram knows that the man has a hand now.
Yeah, but what? Well, if he was betting out with a flush draw, he made it, so Ram knows he's running out of ways, but Ram wants to represent this flush.
That's interesting.
It's 1700.
Makes life rather difficult for Ram, doesn't it?
Cool.
This is looking to be a very big pot. If anything more goes in, Great Britain will lose the chip lead, and with 2 pair...
Well, Ram Vaswani giving it up in the end. And this is the sort of thing that Joe Beavers wouldn't have done. And there must be a question mark on whether he's the right player at this stage to defend this solid chip lead.
Substitution. America is going to take Phil Lark off the table.
I don't want to go. I'm just going to stay. Tell them the substitution is off. Just tell them that they can stick it. Let's go.
And Captain Robert Williamson feels it's time for a fresh face.
You have to go.
Phil Lack came in, played great for America. We have no problem with how he played at all. But Antonio's been watching 2 complete rounds of hands. We feel like he might be able to take advantage of the situation. And Antonio's going to go in there and either go broke or double up. But you know what? At this point, we want to gamble with him. Fire in the hole.
Welcome back to the Party Poker Poker Nations Cup. With America's chip count, a bit of magic is required. Sure enough, the captain has sent in the magician. Can he do the necessary tricks? At the end of this blinds level, none of the starting players may remain at the table, and it's a sign of good tactical thinking from the Swedish, Danish and Dutch captains that they have let their men stay on for nearly the maximum time available.
Pass.
They're playing good games, they've increased the stacks. Don't mess with a winning formula.
Raise to 1200.
Well, Van Herf pressuring with king high, and Vaswani loves this kind of hand, and with position, with a big chip lead, not a bad hand to take on a razor.
Raise to 3600.
And
Pass.
this is a good strong way to play it.
Pass.
Yeah, Van Herf's hand is actually nasty for a re-raise. He's given it up. Good for the confidence of the Brit Vaswani.
And with that, he takes the British stack roughly to where it was at the beginning of this tournament.
Yeah, Ram was an automatic pick. He played for the team last time we played, and you know, played great. So yeah, automatic.
Swedish, Danish and Dutch players still in. They will have to leave the table at the end of this blind level, but it's a sign of their captain's delight with their performances that they have not been substituted before the last moment. Van Herf of Holland has played a good game, accumulated a lot of chips for his country.
Ho, 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 ho.
He might lose some of them here.
Come on, get it all in, son.
So 3600.
Ram Vaswani,
Pass.
who's been playing back a lot at Van Herf, who has position on him. He has more chips. Van Herf has got no idea of knowing how bad shape he's in here. Van Vaswani in a great situation to take on the team closest to Great Britain in chips. And depending on how Van Herf decides to play this could get very, very expensive.
That is the job that Ram Vaswani was sent in to do, to shake off the Dutch, who are sneaking up behind, to consolidate the initial chip lead. This could be a moment to do just that.
Call.
Reeling in the Dutchman.
Ace will be a bad news for Ram Vaswani.
Oh.
Well, that's most unfortunate. There are 3 aces left in the pack, and one of them came down. How will Ram Vaswani play it?
Check.
Yeah, well, very, very good instincts by Vaswani.
Check.
He knows that ace was bad news for him, and if Van Herf puts a small bet in here, no.
Well, this is fantastic how Vaswani is checking this, not risking any more chips than he has to. Might have to call a bet on the end, just to keep the man honest.
If he sizes it up right.
8,000.
But that's an enormous bet.
I think Rambaswani knows that if it's not an ace, it could be a jack.
And if Holland win this pot, incredibly, they're going to take the chip lead away from Britain.
It's a pot-sized bet, Vicky. He's not messing about.
I think that's a great pass from Vaswani. The ace came down. He didn't try a continuation bet. He resisted the urge to bet the turn. He passed on the river, saving precious chips. But with that ace, we have to ask, is the fantastic luck of Britain in this tournament finally running out? So 3 compulsory substitutions. Denmark, Sweden and Holland. And a fresh army will come in. Another substitution.
Well, that's a shock, Vicky. Rambaswani hasn't been here that long, but I think his captain feels a change is called for.
Okay, the reason we brought Ram off is because he's out of form, you know. He did about 100 grand in on the internet in the last couple of days, and he's obviously not in form, you know. And it's sometimes when you go on TV and it's in your head that you're out of form, you know. I mean, he's just had 2 10s against 2 kings. And then he had 2 queens against this queen, you know, so it's running bad, you know. So we'll put John Cabbage in and see how he does, and then I'm going on last man.
Denmark looks like Mads Andersen. And Sweden, the captain himself, Bo Selstedt. Holland sending in Thierry Vandenberg. John Cabbage coming in for Great Britain. 4 incredible players joining the mix.
Well, these are some very interesting choices, Vicky. John Cabbage probably played the most impressive heat of all the UK team, and that's really saying something. And he's a man right on top of his game at the moment.
Straight out of the traps, Vandenberg of Holland is raising it up with a weak ace. He came to play.
To 1,600.
Well, what a great start for John Cabbage. We saw him slow play big pairs in his heat very effectively.
John Cabbage came second in his heat. Sign of the captain's great respect for this player, that even though he had winners to choose from, he sent in Cabbage, and there is the raise with 2 kings.
Big hand, first hand.
Unbelievable.
Well, the 2 teams at the top of the leaderboard at the moment, an immediate clash. It really will settle the UK's nerves, having lost that check lead, to get the better of their first encounter.
What's interesting about the British captain, Dave Elliott, he's actually a very superstitious man for someone whose profession is to overcome luck with skill. He feels that Ram Vaswani was just having an unlucky night, and I know he'll look at these cards and think Cabbage is on form.
Marcel, if he starts crying on TV, get him straight off anyway. He likes to cry a bit.
You may also feel the chips are safer in the hands of John Cabbage, who was immaculate in his decision-making all through his heat. And a little bit of criticism in the green room about the way Ram played that 6-9, Vicky.
I don't think Vandenberg was ever going to call that bet. And good for the psychology of John Cabbage that he sits straight down, finds a big hand immediately and wins the pot.
I've been playing with John Cabbage in the Victoria and all over the world for about the last 12 years. Very solid, very good player. You know, automatic choice too, really.
Does the Star-Spangled Banner still wave? It does, but it's slipping down the flagpole.
Pass.
Holland, meanwhile, pretty near the chip leader, Great Britain. The magician has got to pull the rabbit out of the hat for his team as soon as possible.
Please.
Well, a limp in the blinds for the ace, Sfandiari. He might suppose this would invite a raise with a lot of hands. Not to know Sells that has a pair.
Re-raise.
Push it. You want you to push it. That's Antonio. He never loses. It's a race.
Well, that was clearly Esfandiari's plan, limping to re-raise. And we've seen that Bo Selstedt is a conservative player.
He made a fantastic pass in this heat with a pair of eights against a pair of tens. We know he's capable of putting down these kind of hands. He will have position after the flop. But Esfandiari has let him know he's committed. So he knows it'll cost him the whole 6,000. He's wondering now whether he's in a race. He's already put in 2,000, Vicky.
That's right. Esfandiari's made it a little over 6,000, but the rest of the Magician's chips will be going in if the pot continues. As the captain, Selstedt does not want to lose nearly 10,000 chips if he's up against a bigger pair.
This is very strong play by Sfandiari. He's committed himself to this pot. He's treated it as a much bigger hand than it is. He was expecting a move from Selstedt. Selstedt knows now that he's got to commit a total of 9,000, 7,000 more than he's already put in, to take a shot at knocking the USA out with what must feel like a very marginal hand.
Well, he's committed himself. Strong right arm from the captain. He can't be seen to quail in front of his countrymen. And now the race is on. If an ace or an eight doesn't hit this board, we are losing the United States of America.
Sfandiari delighted to be in a race, and he's hit one of his cards.
There's the eight. Cheers surely ringing round the green room from the American corner. Only a 7 now can knock them out.
Queen.
No.
Yes, we're not gonna go broke.
Much needed double up for America, and a very sorry moment for the Swedish captain, who made a good call but went behind.
Well, that was great play by both players. Esfandiari made a very strong move, and Selstedt made a very good read.
Antonio Esfandiari, the reason why he's here is not only is he comfortable being here because he's played here several times, but he's kind of a wild card. He can play really fast and aggressive, and he can slow down a meter a little bit, but he's really an aggressive player. Attack, attack, attack. I think he'll be good for us in the finals.
America, who were at the bottom for so long, now well above Sweden, who are the strugglers.
Pass.
There's a lot of pressure really on Great Britain. They came first or second in every single qualifying heat. They were really expected to win this going in with such a chip lead. Rather awkward for them if they don't.
Well, certainly theirs to lose. But all these teams knew they had a good shot. And of course now the momentum with the USA, who've been the underdogs throughout this tournament.
What a raise from Denmark. He's only got King 5.
Raise it up.
These two are the best of friends. They've clashed many times. And really, I think that was a case of knowing your man, Vicky, as only Mads Andersen on this table knows John Cabage.
Mads was an easy pick. He's very experienced in the live games, and he's experienced being up against really good players too. And he just came from a big fourth place in the Bellagio tournament here in December, where he cashed out around $400,000.
Great Britain has called a timeout. The captain wants to talk to his man.
Fat Danish guy with the ugly face, right? He just raised you with King 5. I just want you to know that the guy is doing moves on the TV showing also.
Okay, I'll get him.
No problem, buddy. Go get him.
Cabage armed now with fresh information. Was that good use of a timeout, Barney?
I think it's the best kind of use you can make, Vicky, although Mads Andersen very canny. I wonder if he would have guessed in which case he might use that information to his advantage.
Poker is all think and double think.
Plus. Raise to 1700. Plus.
As Van Diari may feel he's being bullied by the Dutchman.
Well, with this new chip position, he has a wider range of decisions he's able to make.
The raise.
Well, this is very strong stuff.
Well, this has absolutely nothing to do with the cards that Van Diari is holding. All to do with the fact that he's allowed his blind to be raised several times by Vandenberg, and now he's got the chips. He's saying, OK, enough is enough.
Making clear to the Dutchman, I have chips now. I am not to be pushed around. Vandenberg with a pretty medium hand against a re-raise. And of course it looks like he's got plans to go skiing later. Doesn't want to ruin his afternoon tomorrow with a bad decision.
Well, this is great stuff by Van Diari. Several times he's had his big blind attacked by this man. First time he's made a stand, weakest hand. But timing is everything in this game. And with the chips that Van Diari has got, he's actually put quarter of his stack into this pot, Vicky. This is a very, very bold move indeed.
Here is the think and double think. Can Holland work out that America is taking a stand? Decides not to risk it.
Oh my gosh! That was the quickest 500 you ever made. That lasted like 2 seconds.
And with only an 8 deuce, the magician has spirited away some chips.
I believe you, Antonio.
His captain will be delighted. Welcome back to the Party Poker Poker Nations Cup. Britain at the top of the board, America no longer at the bottom. S. Van Diari really stamping his mark on this table.
Raise to 17. Plus. Plus.
Is this going to be another re-raise?
Re-raise to 5,800.
This is really gutsy play from the American.
Once again, great timing by Van Diari. He's up against the same hand he was up against before, but this time he's actually in front with his ace and feels like he knows it. And for the first time in this tournament, the USA playing with a freedom allowed to them by the swinging fortunes they've had of late. And S. Van Diari, known for playing any two cards with imagination, strength and style, is really starting to push United States to the fore in this Poker Nations Cup.
It's another timeout, this time for Denmark.
Antonio er helt vild.
Ja.
Og 8-2, den første hånd, suited mod konge-dame fra hollænderen. Og din konge-dame, der var det S6 off.
Ja.
Så det er normalt, at Estefan Dreyer spiller nu.
Ja.
What's this? America now calling a timeout.
I already know what they're going to tell me.
So I play good because now it's out.
So the Swedish were in the makeup room at the same time as me. The guy comes running, they're like, oh, I gotta get you in there, So Swedish are fixing to bring a player in too to counteract your style of playing.
They're like sending in their guys to readdress you.
After they're in, yeah, they're gonna sit them back to be hyper-aggressive.
They've seen all your sick things. The deuce 8.
The deuce 8 off.
He was like,
suited. I didn't see the suit, sorry.
So now the jig is up. Now they're going to get... So now when you have pocket 10s or ace jack,
you get paid off.
Now continuously.
You know what to do from there.
I knew that.
I know, but when they started switching players and whatever, they were so excited.
I know that they're going to know that.
We just want to come out and give you a high five for that 8 deuce.
I love that.
what did I get when I had A6?
Nothing.
Right now. No, yeah.
I did it again.
I didn't see that. We're here waiting.
I just did it again.
We're waiting to come in.
Mats raised, I re-raised.
All right. Hey,
I didn't see it. I can't
Is it wrong for a man to love another man?
Can I have a kiss from?
No.
Hey, I'll give you an extra 500. 500, kiss the man. On the lips.
500?
$500, cash.
No, not the lips.
Oh, no, not the lips. I'd kiss his cheek.
I know you speak excellent Danish, Barney. What was that all about?
Well, I think roughly translated it was Antonio's been at it. And the thing is, though, I mean, the interesting thing is whether or not Robert Williamson was wise to call Antonio out, because Antonio, as he said, had already worked out what that timeout was about and had worked out that they would be playing back at him more.
Pass.
Reesthorpe dealing the cards. The team that wins will lift the Poker Nations Cup and take home $100,000. Bo Selstedt, the Swedish captain, is at the bottom of the chip ladder.
Pass. Raise to 17.
Now here's a decision for Selstedt.
Raise all in.
He's all in. We know that he was only planning to play until the end of this level. But before that can happen, it's an all-in re-raise.
Well, Esfandiari, with his captain's instructions ringing in his ears to sit back and wait for big hands because they're going to play back against you, well, that's how much notice he took of that advice. And I think he was doing the old double think.
Yeah, Antonio figured if the others are going to start to play back at him, they might anticipate him knowing that, put him on bigger hands, but a brilliant move from the Swedish captain. If he gets called and doubles up, may have to change his plan to call in a new player.
And however long he thinks, he has to get... Whoa, that's extraordinary. Well, he expected to have 2 live cards here, Vicky, and he's very, very disappointed with the outcome here.
Flop comes 8, tray, ace.
A queen. A 7, of course, would knock Sweden out of this tournament. Otherwise, a double up for the captain, just when he'd been advised to leave his seat. Fantastic pot goes to Sweden.
Well, I mean, Bo Selstedt said all along his intention was to take himself out at the end of this level. Let's see if that changes.
And we are going to have a new man coming in.
Substitution for Sweden.
For Team Sweden.
Well, the Swedish captain has sent in the respected elder statesman of the Swedish team, Johan Storicus, former Master Classics champion, and surely the steadiest and most experienced of this Swedish team. And he'll be sent in to steady the ship.
We're going to leave the action there for now. Germany already eliminated. 5 teams still battling for glory. Join us next time. Good night.
Get behind the wheel next tonight as the Lloyd's TSB Insurance F3 International Series hits Donington Park.